What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. DJ Reaction. You know what it is. I didn't post anything about the Eclipse because there was too much fear mongering going on. And the one thing I will say about that is that's the lowest level that you can vibrate in. That's the lowest frequency. And they want you at that level. So all of these fake prophets, all of these people that are putting out all of this BS about prophecies and all this fear mongering, getting everybody scared. I was just not having anything to do with it. I wasn't involved. I didn't post anything because I knew there was nothing that was going to happen, but fear mongering is something that, those people feed off of. You know what I'm talking about. They feed off of that. So, but yeah, good to be back to post some more, and let's get into it. As a reminder, it's for entertainment purposes only. Don't believe anything that I say. Don't believe anything that you see on these videos. Do your own research, and please don't mistake anything I say for guidance. I'm just stating my perspective, my opinion, and I could be full of shit. You don't know, but let's get in with the content.
What you got to say now? What you got to say now? You ain't got shit to say when you put your girl on the snap. Baby, yo, babe. I mean, shit getting weird. Come on, baby. It's hot outside. You fucking wrapped up in that blanket. Let's go jog on the beach.
I wonder what he's got to say now. That's what I wonder. All this shit's coming out. What you got to say now?
What I will say is that one particular party, lots of big names. There was an artist there who said, "Hey, Lecrae, around 1 a.m., make sure you're not here." And I was like, "What? You just don't want to be here at 1 in the morning." And I was like, now my pride kicked in, like, yo, you don't know me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can handle myself. Like, I'm not some little church boy who ain't never seen nothing. Like, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what you talking about? Well, it's probably 12:30. I'm downstairs. I go downstairs to the studio. I come up out the studio, and I'm headed back upstairs to like the main area where everyone's kind of congregating and hanging out. And the music changed. It was like really hard and heavy at first, and then, like jam and dancing music. And it was a little softer. It was a little more sensual when I came out the studio and started going upstairs. And on my way upstairs, there's like this couch. I won't say how the couch is designed, because then that may give away whose party and whose house this was. There was a couch, and on the couch, I saw a couple of guys really going at it hard and heavy. And man, and I was like, oh, my brain, I'm thinking, well, this celebrity party, people do what they do. As I started moving upstairs, I passed them up, and I noticed that it wasn't just those two guys. It was more and more people just going at it. Shout out to my guy, Brandon T. Jackson, man. Brandon T. Jackson, at this particular party, Brandon T. came up to me and he said, yo, man, like, Satan will steal your soul in this industry, bro.
That last part that he said is interesting, right? Satan will steal your soul in this industry. And we're looking at all of the people that, if you want to believe in an entity called Satan, then you can believe in it. All of the people that entity is using to steal your souls. You can't steal somebody's soul. Your soul doesn't belong to you anyways, so you can't steal it. But when you're talking about, your pride, your privacy, and really the truth about you comes out. What will you do for all of this? And most people don't even get it. They get just a little taste, and then the other person gets everything, which is usually Diddy. I mean, look at Cassie, and look at that other chick. Can't remember her name. She was supposed to have an actual album, and she just got a, no, it was a dude. It was that light skinned dude. Why is it always gotta be light skinned dude? Man, y'all fucking us up. So yeah, he went, and that's the one. The lawyer walked in on him, and you know, the lawyer walked into the office. Diddy's office door wasn't locked. She didn't think anything of it. Went to go give him some papers to sign, and just saw some shit she didn't want to see. And he never, all he got was the demo deal. So Diddy made him a demo tape, let him work with some people to make a demo tape, and just stopped it there. But recorded all of it, of course. So, ugh, this man.
So now we focus on another facet of his life. We enter the chapter of relationship abuse and drama of Diddy. So here is where things get really dark and scary. It all began in 1994 when Diddy got in a relationship with Kim Porter. When they first met, Kim was married to a singer named Al B. Sure, and they shared a son named Quincy. Well, once the relationship with Al B. Sure fell apart, Kim got together with Diddy and they had children of their own. Diddy also adopted her son Quincy, and everything looked like peaches and cream from the outside looking in. But internally, the relationship was on and off for years and rocky to say the least. In fact, the people around them say that Diddy was manipulative, controlling, and abusive towards Kim. Apparently, the relationship was terrible, but they stayed together for the sake of the kids. However, enough was enough, and the couple officially went their separate ways in the early 2000s. In any bad relationship, separating is always the healthiest thing to do. Diddy moved on to new relationships, and so did Kim. Kind of. During their separation, Diddy's controlling instincts could not hold back. As we now know, when something is out of his control, he absolutely freaks out. Even though he moved on to other women, he could not handle Kim seeing other men. And this is when the Diddy relationship mania truly starts. According to Bad Boy artist Mark Curry, Diddy began tapping her phone to know who she was talking to and where she was.
Anytime a man would go out his way to wiretap someone's phone or put taps in their homes just to monitor their conversation, that's a sign of insanity. He know everything she doing.
As Diddy allegedly overheard all of her conversations, he was bound to hear something that he didn't like. That day would come, and it would definitely not be pretty. While listening to her conversations, he overheard her flirting with a man named Shakir Stewart. For those who are unfamiliar, Shakir was a respected lawyer turned record label executive, and at this particular time, he was the head of A&R for L.A. Reid's LaFace Records. Well, when Diddy overheard his relations with Kim, he allegedly went ballistic. According to lawsuits, Diddy was so mad that he tracked them down and even assaulted them. First, he targeted Shakir Stewart himself.
That made him so mad at Shakir Stewart when he went to L.A. Reid party, hit him with the chair.
This is bad, but not even the worst part about it. Allegedly, he also broke Kim Porter's nose. Now, I can't prove anything, but something very strange would occur in 2008. On November 1st, 2008, Shakir Stewart was found inside of his Georgia home. According to his friends and family, Shakir was acting paranoid and unusual in the days before his passing.
Every time he called me, he was like real melancholy, subdued.
He was in a kind of state of paranoia. He was indicating that he was being pursued. He was looking out the windows.
Yo, rest in peace to Shakir, man. I didn't even know any of that. That's fucked up, and that's just fucked up. You're insecure, you've got little man syndrome, you're trying to compensate for shit. Like, you're real insecure as a man, and I wouldn't even call him a man. I call him a little boy playing a man, because real men don't do that kind of shit. We just don't. There's no reason for it. Like, that screams nothing but ego and insecurity. And the two of them together are so dangerous, because he's got insecurity about somebody he's with just being around other men. So he's got a tracker, tapper phone, all that stuff, because this was in the 90s when they actually tapped phones, that way. And then you got the ego to where he's like, no, I'm Puff Daddy. You know, I'm Puffy. I'm bad boy. So it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna let it happen. So you got the ego, you got the insecurity, and then you got the narcissistic part. Very narcissistic, you know? And narcissism is very much intertwined with sociopathy. So if you know, I wouldn't call him, I don't know enough yet to you know, this is just my personal opinion. I don't know enough yet to know if he is a psychopath. I don't think he is. But sociopath, absolutely. Sociopath with narcissistic tendencies, 1000%. Sociopath, narcissistic tendency with a fucking ego disorder and super hella insecure, boom, got him. That's exactly what he is.
And he names Christian and Justin Combs, and he says that he has personal knowledge that Christian drugged a woman and sexually assaulted her. And remember, he's a music producer. He's known as Little Rod Jones. He filed a suit against Combs in February, and he says he spent months basically living with Combs while they were working on this album together called Love. And Jones says that his proximity to Combs over those months gave him access to a lot of illicit activity that Jones claims was taking place: drug use, alleged assault of young girls at parties. But he also talks about Justin Combs, who works as a producer and actor. And he claims that in September 2022 is that Diddy was hosting this writer and producers camp at this studio, Chalice Studios. And Jones was there, Diddy was there, Justin, and Justin's friend, only referred to as G. And apparently G, Justin, and Diddy got into some sort of heated argument, and it moved from the studio into a restroom. And the complaint from Jones reads, says, quote, Mr. Jones was approximately 2 feet away from the bathroom when gunshots rang out. Mr. Jones recalls hearing multiple gunshots. Mr. Jones immediately went into a state of shock and feared that he would be shot next. Mr. Jones genuinely believed that he would be shot through the door due to how close he was. After the shooting ended, a crowd gathered around the restroom upon information and belief. When the door finally opened, Mr. Combs and Jay Combs exited. G was lying on the restroom floor in a fetal position, holding his stomach and bleeding out of his out of his torso and leg hip area. Everyone stood around looking upon G. Frustrated by the lack of aid to G, Mr. Jones dropped everything, ran to G, immediately began placing pressure on G's gunshot wound to his torso. Mr. Combs gave strict instructions to inform the police that he had nothing to do with the shooting. He also forced Mr. Jones to lie to the police by telling them that G was shot standing outside the studio by a drive-by assailant. And he goes on to say that Mr. Jones has several corroborating witnesses. They feared retaliation from Mr. Combs. They've agreed to speak publicly when subpoenaed. Mr. Jones has the clothing he wore that day and believes it may still have G's blood stains and DNA. So,
how crazy is that? I mean, not only are you a piece of shit, but now you're training your sons to be just like you. Like father, like son. Even in the comments, somebody says, it was stated that the times Justin was forcing band members to give them head within sexual rotation of sex acts, the public never rejected the statements because of minor custodial. I think they're trying to spell curriculum. Curriculum? Fucking literate ass. But yeah, they're saying that, so that's fucked up. I mean, you're turning your children to be, you know, versions of you, but worse versions of you. You know, what a piece of shit. I haven't seen these videos yet, but just on the title here, Puff would have never had shit if it hadn't have been for Biggie. And I think he played a pivotal role in all of that happening. I truly do. Because he was never shit without Biggie. And there's a video when, you know, his first artist was Craig Mack, you know, Flavor in Your Ear. So, and then he got Biggie and it just blew up. And Mace was so briefed by, you know, what his, you know, when they were wearing a little flashy, you know, making those videos wearing like silver and all this flashy shit and just Mason Betta, you know, all that shit. Mace was so distraught by everything that he had done with him that he just turned to Jesus and never came back. And good for you. I mean, should have brought some of that on to your mans, but didn't happen. Let's see what this is about.
That takes us to the next chapter of the story. After the passing of Tupac, Puff went about his life like nothing had happened. But for whatever reason, his bad boy artists were not so secure in their ways. In fact, they were very cautious of their whereabouts and made sure to avoid California at all costs. Eventually, though, they would have to go back to Cali. And that takes us to the Soul Train Awards of 1997. The awards are held in Los Angeles, and because of this, the bad boy artists do not want to go. In particular, Mace thinks it's too risky, and Biggie decides to not go at all. He happens to have a broken femur, and he tells Puff that he's in too much pain to fly back and forth. He also mentions that going to LA is not the best idea, which is really the real reason. But Puff tells him that he'll be safe and nothing will happen. And according to the bad boy president Kirk Burroughs, he
could not really sit comfortably in a plane, not even first class, with a cast on. It was uncomfortable. He was talked into going.
Strangely though, Puff doesn't care if Biggie goes to the award show. He really just wants him at the after party.
Yo, that whole week, man, Puff was like, yo, man, yo, Big, you gotta come to this party.
Finally, Biggie caves into Puff and decides to come to LA. But what Puffy doesn't know is that directly after the award show, Biggie will be flying to London. This is because Clive Davis booked him for a major media appearance where he'll be introduced to a worldwide audience. The award show takes place and everything goes smoothly. That's when Biggie tells Puff that he's headed for the airport to fly to London. As you would expect, Puffy is livid, and he calls Clive Davis right away. He tells him to cancel Biggie's appearance in London because he wants him at the party in LA.
Diddy called late Friday night saying he's not going to London. Call Arista, cancel it. You go. You represent it. You go.
Strange, right? Wouldn't you want your artist to fulfill this amazing opportunity? Making him skip out on a worldwide appearance just so he could go to some silly party? It doesn't quite make sense. On top of this, earlier in the day, Mace warned him that some guys might be coming after them. If this wasn't enough, Gene Deal informed him as well.
I said, Puff, I got some intel. The guys are coming to kill us tonight. He said, Gene, I don't want to hear that. He said, you ain't got to go if you don't want to go.
So Puff knew there was a threat and brushed it off. Puff, Big, and most of Bad Boy are at Steve Stout's party in the Hollywood Hills. At 12:30 a.m., LAPD show up to shut down the party due to a noise complaint. Because of this, everyone at the party is forced to go their separate ways. For Biggie, he rolls out with his friends D-Rock, Lil Cease, and his driver G-Money. At 12:45, they stop at a red light on Fairfax and Wilshire, and that's when a Chevy Impala pulls right beside them. The incident shocked the world again, and everyone assumed that this was revenge for Tupac, but something that happened directly after is very strange.
Puff went to San Diego and they put him on a jet about 2 hours after Big died.
See, I don't know everything about the world, but what I do know is that when your best friend dies, you don't leave them. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and all I can think of is, was Puff involved in the passing of Biggie?
Big couldn't even walk, he couldn't run. Puff ain't want none of that beef. So what I'ma do is, y'all want the sheep? I'ma put him out the pasture. Catch him if you can.
Did Puff sacrifice Biggie in order to stop the beef on the West Coast? You guys tell me. There's no way that Puff would do this to his closest friend and main artist, right? I mean, after his passing, he even released songs to commemorate him.
And as far as my theory, it would be inadequate for me to speculate. I would just be like everybody else. I mean, one thing I do know is that it was evil, it was ignorant, and it hurts, you know what I'm saying?
But I'm not the only one who feels uneasy. In fact, Bad Boy's second biggest artist felt sick to his stomach. In the height of his rap career, Mace decided to leave Bad Boy and to become a pastor. His relationship with Puff had fallen apart, and they've been arguing over money ever since. So with Biggie and Mace gone, Bad Boy was falling apart at the helm. But leave it up to the genius of Diddy, he would quickly replace their talent. That takes us to the next chapter of the story. After the passing of Tupac, Puff went about his life like nothing had happened. But for whatever reason, his bad boy artists were not so secure in their ways. In fact, they were very cautious of their whereabouts and made sure to avoid California at all costs. Eventually, though, they would have to go back to Cali. And that takes us to the Soul Train Awards of 1997. The awards are held in Los Angeles, and because of this, the bad boy artists do not want to go. In particular, Mace thinks it's too risky, and Biggie decides to not go. After all of this drama and loss, he wanted Bad Boy Records to restart their success. But now without Craig Mack, Biggie, Mace, and Shine, Diddy needed some new talent. So of course, the musical genius went out looking for his next star. The year is 2003, and Diddy is looking to sign new artists. But in this case, an artist comes to his desk looking for a deal. This would be New Jack City actor and R&B singer Christopher Williams. Long story short, Christopher got a deal from Bad Boy, but how it happened is the real story. According to Jaguar Wright, the old rituals came back around. She claims that Diddy's lawyer walked into his office and witnessed Christopher Williams giving him favors.
I think it was like '03. There was a young woman. She's a lawyer, or at least she was. She used to be an entertainment lawyer. I hope I won't be putting her in danger while she was working at Bad Boy, because she was one of the lead counsels for Bad Boy Entertainment. She witnessed something. She witnessed something that was disturbing to her. But what was really disturbing to her was the conversation that she had with Diddy after. See, Christopher Williams, I don't know, I guess he wanted to sign. I don't know what happened. But Puff was supposed to be giving him a demo deal, and he gave him a demo deal, and I guess it was supposed to turn into an album deal, which that never happened. But this young woman walked in to get approval on some paperwork. See? And when she walked in, the door wasn't locked, so she didn't think twice about just walking in. And when she walked in, she saw Christopher Williams on Puff. And I just don't know, he was like, it's power, see?
Of course, this is all rumors and speculation, so we'll leave it at that.
I don't even know what to say about that. It's all about power. I'm sure for him it's about control and power, because he's trying to compensate for something, and he's power hungry, narcissistic sociopath. I can't wait for all of this shit to come out.
Back in the day, Andre Harrell had a very similar story to Sean Combs. He was another college student in the Bronx hoping to one day work in the music industry. And while in college, he was discovered by a legendary music mogul by the name of Clive Davis. For those who don't know, Clive is famous for founding Arista Records and for being one of the first moguls to come out of the closet. While Clive took a special liking to Andre and took him under his wing in the music industry. Long story short, in 1985, Andre was given funding to start his own music label, one called Uptown Records. So just like Puff, Andre went out and discovered underground rappers. So again, this begs the same question: how did Andre get this position at such a young age? Regardless of the truth, stories like these have always been rumored in entertainment. Essentially, you get taken advantage of by those in power, and that's how you make it in your industry. Then the idea is that over time, the former victims become the perpetrators. When Sean was hired at Uptown, Andre Harrell had a personal assistant named Kim Porter, and the rumor states that she caught Sean doing special favors for Andre.
But then again, you know, you had it in for Andre because Andre used to make you and Kim Porter had footage of it.
Well, make of all that what you want, but the fact is that Sean's career took off from here. After becoming the vice president of Uptown, Sean truly put his head down and grinded for success. He scouted the local underground scene in order to find his first diamond in the rough. This is how he discovered his first artist in 1991, an MC out of Long Island by the name of Craig Mack. Craig was an instant success, but Sean wasn't satisfied with just him. While scrolling through the Source magazine, Sean was intrigued by a rapper in the unsigned hype section. This would be a young rapper out of Brooklyn by the name of Notorious Big. So in March of 1992, Sean got in contact with Big and brought him to the studio. He was blown away by his talent and instantly signed him to Uptown Records. Boom, this was his next Uptown project.
Repeating the cycle. So, I don't know I've never heard anything about Clive Davis's, like, this type of involvement with Clive Davis, but it makes sense that Puff had to do what he had to do, Andre, and then, you know, just straight turned him out. And so, after turning him out and learning that this is the way things get done, you know, he had it out for him and everyone else. And oh, I just the video I posted of him clapping Meek's cheeks. Yeah, that was an angry fuck right there. That's what that was. That was an anger banger. It was a complete anger banger. I was like, oh, God, I feel horrible for that man. Oof. He probably had to get stitches, or you saw the next day he's in a pool trying to cool off his ass. And Puff sitting there saying, yeah, daddy, you putting in that. I don't even like saying that. Yeah, you putting in that work. You putting in that work. And he just sitting in the pool, just hanging on to the ledge, trying to cool off his cheeks after that, you know? It's fucked up. It's a fucked up community. It's fucked up community, but it's fucked up mentality. And these cycles just keep on repeating to where everybody's doing that. So this is the kind of shit that I don't like. So you see this right here, and it's just disinformation, misinformation. So this is not the list. This is him spelling out all of the people that are being invited to, it was like his, I think his 52nd or 53rd birthday party. That's what it is. But you look at this, you know, little caption down here, and they're trying to make you think it's something else. This has nothing to do with that. I'll play a little bit of this, but I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's just them naming names. And it's just an invite list for his party. Now, we all know what goes on at those parties. So if you want to know who's at those parties and, you know, probably did some shit, saw some shit, yeah, you can go by the list. But you won't see Cat Williams on that list. You won't see Dave Chappelle on that list. You won't see Ice Cube on that list. There's a lot of bad motherfuckers that don't fuck around like this, and you will not hear their names on this list, but we'll get into it for a minute.
Okay, are you ready? Drum roll. Drake. Oprah. J-Lo. A-Rod. Will Smith. Alicia Keys. Black King God. Justin Bieber. Kevin Hart. Mark Wahlberg. Snoop. DJ Khaled. Swiss Beats.
My bad. I mean, can you turn the music up? You know? Fuck. I can barely hear them. Fuck that. I'm not playing it. I'm not playing it. If y'all want to see it, y'all can go check it out. I'm not doing it. That music's fucking up the audio. We don't need to go through the list. We already know who's on it. Y'all can look that up yourself. I'm not going through that whole thing again. But yeah, it's fucked up, and apparently he's not going down alone. He's actually, you know, Kris Jenner. Let me find that video. Kris Jenner has left the country because of some videos that popped up with her at his parties. They're pretty dangerous for black men. I mean, like, the Kardashians are dangerous for black men. Like, stay away from them. Don't fall for it. You wouldn't want to anyways, because fuck is her ethnicity? I can't remember off the top of my head. but I know they're hairy as fuck. Okay, now let's get back to some of our regularly scheduled programming. This is what I love, but I still gotta put the Diddy stuff out there because he's doing a lot of essay, a lot of bad shit, and you know it needs to be put out there. It needs to be put out there.
The researchers had to use ground-penetrating radar and other specialized equipment to map out the area beneath the ice.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I can roast, I can gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past and the pettiness. A reflection of the emptiness, hilarious. You think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last. Yeah.
Discovery could mean.
Now that I've been put through hell,
that's crazy.
I mean,
not what they found is crazy. We all know what's going on there. The black basalt rock.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness.
How fast did you make the internet? 1.2 million times faster. So like, how many gigabits per second would that be? 301 million gigabits per second. Wait, that would download a game that's a terabyte big in less than a second? Yes, yes it would. Oh, how did you do it? Essentially, the fiber optic cables that we use to beam internet all over the world had a whole bunch of space that no one knew how to use. And you figured out how to use it, huh? Precisely. And the great part about this discovery is that it uses existing infrastructure, which means we don't need to replace anything in order to gain these speeds. Is there such a thing as a Nobel Prize for people who make our lives better? Because I think this guy's gonna deserve it.
Make it so much faster off of existing infrastructure. That's what that's for. I agree with this guy. Deserves at least
fourth wall break. It is. Anyway. This is some of the coolest internet news that we've done in a long time. It could literally change all of our lives, okay? So basically this guy and a bunch of other people at Aston University have figured out how to create these things called optical amplifiers that operate in these new areas that basically no one else has been able to figure out before. And because of it, they're able to get these insane internet speeds. And because it uses the existing infrastructure, nothing's going to be required to be like pulled out or replaced in order to gain these speeds. So we could see this being implemented super soon. This is huge and like probably my nerd coming out because I think this is absolutely awesome. So if you guys like hearing about stuff like this, please let me know in the comments because I love sharing stuff like that.
Yeah, pretty fucking awesome. You guys know I don't push an agenda, but I thought this was a really dope way for this to be presented, so I'm just gonna play it.
In the midst of humanity's struggle with sin, God chose to manifest himself as a man, born of a virgin. This divine incarnation took the form, Jesus Christ. While Jesus propagated the good news, God the Father posed a question amidst the prevailing evils of the world. Who would ultimately win, them or you? In response, Jesus conveyed, if Satan attempts to entice me with his treasures, it might pose a little trouble. Would you lose? Nah, I'd win. Undeterred, Jesus pressed on with his mission to disseminate the good news and enlighten humanity. However, he faced betrayal from Judas, swayed by temptations from the Jewish high priests. Eventually, in fulfillment of the scriptures, Jesus willingly endured the crucifixion, bearing the weight of sin upon himself. Miraculously, 3 days after his crucifixion, Jesus Christ rose from death, and his apostles were first-hand witnesses to this extraordinary resurrection. In anticipation of his ascension to heaven, Jesus' disciples posed a profound question. Are you the Son of God because you resurrected? Or did you resurrect because you are the Son of God? In response, response, Jesus replied, "The authority over land and seas resides in the one true God through me. Because throughout heaven and earth, stand alone is the only way."
That was definitely more exciting, making it in that style. But I can't stand seeing that face because, I know who I'm looking at. I'm looking at, Vinci's little cuddle buddy, looking at a Borgia, not looking at Christ.
The scientists that were assigned to researching him started having the hitchhiker effect in their homes and their families. The branch of the CIA called MK Offen, and this branch, that was their thing, was that they got into the occult and esoteric, pretty much kind of like the Ahnenerbe was the Nazis' version. They had several things like the Thule Society and Vril, but it was the Ahnenerbe who was really steeped in the occult as well as the Vril. But MK Offen, they would infiltrate seances. They would send members into seances. They actually openly talked with witches, active witches. In fact, one of the most well-known witches, this well-known witch was Sybil Leek. This lady, she was so well known that H.G. Wells, Lawrence of Arabia, and Aleister Crowley all used to visit her back when she was 9 years old. Her family was that connected. In fact, when MK Offen was dealing with her and approaching her, she would tell them where the most active covens were, all the different locations of witches and covens all around the world. That also, Crowley and several of his colleagues, they all worked with British intelligence. So that's another thing, is like a lot of these people that are steeped in the occult and witchcraft and things like that, and demonic and satanic rituals, also have a lot to do with spies and spy agencies. That she witnessed satanic rituals going on out at military bases. And she said that a lot of the people that are mixed up in the naval intelligence, not all of them, but a lot of them, are mixed up with the OTO, the Ordo Templi Orientis.
There was programming. They used military bases because they won't have any interference when they have someone on a military base. And a lot of my programming took place on military bases. I would like to talk about the fact that there are rituals done at the military bases also, and that rituals are not a cover. The people that do the mind control are involved, and rituals are very much a part of how they do things.
I don't know if you've read the book about Laurel Canyon. Have you read any of that stuff and looked into it? Oh man, yeah, the whole hippie movement. And I touched a little bit on this because people like Timothy Leary, who was big on promoting LSD and things like that, this was all part of the CIA and their MK Ultra, as well as MK Offen and all that. In fact,
so I'm going to pause right here. Just remember where he left off, right? Timothy Leary, LSD, MK Offen, CIA, right? Or OSS. So, before they did this, they didn't want to do it on their own soil. So, they went to Canada and they sent the equivalent of, I don't know, I would say the LSD equivalent of Heinrich Himmler, from the SS in Germany. Anyways, they did this in Canada first. So there's a video out, and they're showing the people now that went through this way back then. So they were in these psych wards, and the OSS, then CIA, whatever name you want to call it, they were experimenting with LSD, and the amounts of LSD that they were putting into people, it's absolutely, there's no words for it, because they're testing on live humans that are in a psychiatric ward for a mental condition that the world doesn't understand yet. And instead of trying to understand it or help them, they use them as guinea pigs. So I can't remember the guy's name, but he was one of the main guys that left, the US to go to Canada to run these tests on these people. And he's doing everything from IV LSD to eye drops and all of this. And then, just, keeping, like, literally, not joking when I say this, literally keeping their eyelids open so they can never blink, and showing them all of this stuff. And that's how the MK Ultra and MK Often programming started, Manchurian Candidate. That all evolved from these tests. But there's been documentaries done on these people just a few years ago, and they have never had a normal life since then. Like, what they were dealing with in the psych ward was, bad enough. But then when they allowed them to test it, they allowed CIA to test it, those people, it just made it that much worse. And these people have never had normal lives. I mean, it's fucked them up for life. And so, apparently, that operation got disbanded, and then it came to the US. And they tried it out on everybody. They ran all of these campaigns about marijuana and LSD. Marijuana, the ones they made about marijuana is what you would think LSD would do. They were just making it the most asinine, insane thing. You smoke this stuff and you're gonna hallucinate and think you're Al Capone and all this stuff. Just crazy. Just, you're gonna see cartoons coming out of the walls. It was just the most insane thing you've ever heard. But it's propaganda. Propaganda. Don't think the US isn't the king of propaganda. They are. And so then they started testing it on their citizens. So you wonder why I like to put this information out there, is because they've tested so much on their own citizens. And in my mind, that's something you don't do. Where I'm from, that's the kind of shit you don't do.
This goes all the way back to Edgewood Arsenal. And they needed a giant pool of test subjects. So they were using the American public as guinea pigs. They've been dealing with they've been initiating satanic rituals at all levels of government, because they are trying to tap into these things. They want to make contact. It's no different than John Dee back when he was the person that worked for Queen Elizabeth. All the
I saw no shot at all that said that that drone's in space.
Itching, bro. Damn. Fuck, this shit's so fucking itchy, bro.
What the fuck, Joanna, man? Oh, fuck no. Cleo, what the fuck you got going on?
My head's itching, bro. That is definitely time for that week to come out, bro. I can't even lie to you. Like, whew, child.
You don't think you need to toss that shit back on?
Huh?
Yeah. What the fuck? Where the fuck your braids at?
In my motherfucking head, what you mean?
Where your hang time at? Why you staring at me like that? You don't you did this to yourself.
Well, it just be so itchy. I don't know what the hell you want me to do. It's itchy.
You ain't have to.
No, your ass ain't talking.
What? I can't take my shit. The only way I can take my shit out if I gotta cut it. I can't just snatch my shit off, bro. We ain't working. This ain't white chicks, bro.
Shut up. And hold that wig.
He called her Joanna, man.
That shit right there is crazy. When I tell you that Ingersoll Lockwood never lets me down, remember when I showed you guys this picture? When I showed you all this picture that was on the Ingersoll Lockwood site, look down in the bottom right-hand corner. What do you see? Here, let's get a little closer. Does that animal right there not look a lot like the animal in the video that I stitched? I would honestly love to say that I'm perplexed, but I'm not. Because one thing that I've learned about Ingersoll Lockwood and his cryptic messages, he ain't let me down yet. And for those of y'all that don't realize how long this picture was out, I'll tell you this. It was out before the bridge was knocked down. Well, look at this. Yep, that's it right there. Blowing smoke all over everyone's head. The eclipse was fake. The sun that's in the sky right now is fake. We will no longer be able to look up and gaze at it. It hurt my eyes yesterday to gaze at the sun. And I sun gaze daily because I am a believer in rock. And don't forget this, H1N5, that there is the bird flu. And this was out before that was out. This picture was out before that happened. And now we are seeing that in videos on TikTok. What's going on, people?
Metformin. 150 millions are on this medication. Perhaps you are one of them. You need to know this.
I'm not a pharmacist, but she is. So I pay attention. Check out what she has to say about this.
Go to pdr.net, type in metformin, scroll down to mechanism of action. As you can see, it shows that it can lower blood glucose levels 25 to 30%. This graph here shows you the number of metformin prescribed in millions going up from 2001 to 2021.
Everybody's on it.
And this one here shows diagnosed diabetes cases also going up.
Nuts.
More and more people are being prescribed these medications, but yet the number keeps going up. That's because you can't use medications to treat a dietary disease.
Boom.
So your diabetes journey might start with 500 milligrams of metformin daily, then it goes up to twice a day. And then eventually you'll need insulin. Your doctor might tell you that the number looks good, but if you're not addressing the root cause of the problem, it's going to get worse, and you might end up with more diagnoses, such as type 3 diabetes, which is Alzheimer's. So the real problem is, about 50 years ago, the food companies were taking dietary fibers from our food. And we consume these processed foods because it's convenient and it's addictive. So what happened if you put back the fiber? Here's the study from the University of Sydney. They are the experts on blood glucose.
Yep.
This study was done on a dietary supplement that's listed in the PDR. The people in this study had fiber before they ate their meal. The result shows 20 to 28% of blood glucose reduction, similar to the study on metformin. If this blend of fiber works as well as metformin, then why haven't you heard about it?
Right.
It's because it's not a drug. The second part is a yerba mate compound concentrate, also in the PDR. It has a high level of chlorogenic acid, a novel insulin sensitizer, and potentiate similar therapeutic actions to metformin. This concentrated plant compound has similar mechanism as metformin. Even though these plant-based supplements are in the PDR.net, doctors don't normally prescribe dietary supplements. Here are some people who have tried these protocol.
That's me.
The protocol is very simple. You wake up in the morning and you sip on the concentrated yerba mate tea. The concentrated yerba mate tea can stimulate your own natural GLP-1 up to 70%, shuts off the food noise, decrease your cravings for carbs and sugars, keep you satiated longer, makes you more insulin sensitive. And before your lunch and dinner, you're going to drink the fiber blend, that one that's in the study by the University of Sydney. These two products are proven to balance your blood glucose, and it's natural, no side effects. Metformin. 150 millions are on this medication.
That's probably one of the most important things out of everything that I've put on my channel. Like it, love it, hate it, doesn't matter to me. I'm putting it out there, and I hope you guys like it. Dude, do me a favor, smash that like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, because you know they blacklist me for not showing my stuff. But it's alright, I'm gonna still keep putting it out there, and glad to see you all again. And I'll see you on the next one.